Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. In this video, we're going to be looking at this, the amazing Boss GT-1000 core. Now, this is basically their top-end processor, the GT-1000, and they've shrunk it down into a smaller unit to make it more portable. It's got exactly the same processing and effects as its big brother. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a really versatile high-gain sound. Right, let's get to it. I'm starting from a basic patch where basically everything's off. So let's start with amp 1. And what I'm going to do on amp 1 is to switch it to the X high gain amp. So let's switch the gain switch to middle. So we're starting with this sound. Let's turn the gain up to 90. Now I'm going to turn the sag up to +2. We're going to leave the resonance on 0. This is basically the bass end or the bass response of the amp. Let's leave the level where it is and the bass where it is as well. Right, the mid, I'm going to turn up just a little bit to the high 50s. And let's turn up the treble as well. Just increase the presence by a tiny bit. So that's basically amp 1. If we now click on our divider, we can choose all the different modes here. So we can choose whether we're having a single amp or we're using 2 amps. Now, in a minute, I'm going to be linking 2 amps together, but let me just program up amp B. So if I click here and I change it to channel select B, so now we're switched down to this amp down here. So let's click on that. So let's change this amp to X modded. And again, I'm going to change the gain switch up to middle. Right, let's turn the gain up just a little bit. Let's turn the sag up a little bit. And we're going to leave the resonance again on 0. Right, but this one, I want the amp just a little bit louder. Let's turn it up to about 64. I'm going to leave the bass at 42. And let's turn up the mid just a tiny bit. Right, I'm going to bring the treble back on this one. It's quite a bright amp. But I'm going to turn the presence up a little bit. So there's the 2 amps. What we can do now is to go back to the divider and then switch this to dual. That's our basic rhythm sound. I'm going to be adding some extra gain later on with some pedals, but let's add some reverb and delay just to create some space around the sound. So let's click on reverb first of all. And on the reverb, I'm going to switch it straight over to Hall 2. Now, that reverb's a little bit too big. Let's bring the time down to about 2 seconds. Let's turn the tone up a bit. And the density. And let's turn the effects level up. I'm going to leave the pre-delay on 0, and I'll do a video on exactly how to set up reverbs and explain pre-delay, but let's leave it on 0 for the moment. Let's leave the low cut and the high cut on flat, and also the low damp and the high damp. Now, I'm not going to be using any of the ducking, so let's turn all that off. So here's my basic reverb sound. And now let's add some delay. So let's click on master delay and let's change that to pan. Now let's bring the time up so it's around 400 milliseconds. And let's bring the effect level up a bit. Now I'm not using any modulation in this delay, so let's just bring the mod rate back. And the ducking sensitivity, I'm going to bring all that back as well. Right, I'm going to leave the direct level on 100 as I'm going to be controlling the mix, the dry wet mix, using the effect level. And let's leave tap time on 53. Right, now just before we start to bring in some more gain, let's have a quick look at the noise suppressors. I'm just going to click on the first amp and just turn that on, and the second amp as well. Let's bring the release back and let's turn that one on as well. There's two more effects I'm going to add in. One's a compressor and one's going to be an overdrive pedal. But let's start with the compressor first. I'm going to keep it on Boss Comp as I really like the sound of it. I'm going to turn the sustain up to about 50 and the attack up to about the same. And let's bring the ratio back to about 3:1. And now let's bring the direct mix up. Now the direct mix is basically parallel compression, so we're letting some of the clean signal through. And now let's have a look at an overdrive pedal. Let's click on distortion 1 and let's turn that on. And let's choose the crunch pedal. Right, I'm going to leave the drive about where it is, but let's just turn the tone up a bit. Let's leave the level where it is and let's bring the bottom up to about there. Now we don't want any of the clean signal coming through, so I'm going to bring the direct mix all the way back. So now we've got our rhythm sound by turning off the overdrive pedal, and our lead sound by bringing it in. I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. I really hope you guys got something out of that. I'm going to be doing some more videos on the Boss GT-1000 core, on the effects and the effects blocks. So if you'd like to see some more videos on this, please don't forget to like and subscribe and click on that bell button and you'll be notified as soon as a video comes out. I'm Paul and I'll see you next time. Cheers.